Hey guys, welcome back for the next part of assembling the Rolife Arcade Dating booknook. Um, I've done some assembly work off camera and have completed the other side of the street, which is the coffee shop. And it was basically more of the same types of operations we've already seen in previous videos, so I thought there wasn't any sense in boring you with the same old thing. In this case, uh, the interior of the coffee shop here was it's a picture printed on essentially a piece of cardstock that got glued to this backing board. This was an assembly. Another one of these transparencies for the windows, then these posters glued over the top of that. Inserted the signs. Nice little detail here. We have a drain pipe. This sign that leans out, over the street. This is all cardstock. I had to fold this together to get it into this triangular shape. That was a bit nerve-wracking. Back in school in wood shop, I always had a wood and metal shop both. I always had a very hard time imagining three-dimensional shapes. Now that I think about it, in metal shop especially, there was a time when I was making a toolbox that I just made a complete disaster out of it because I did the bends in the metal wrong, so it just didn't fit together. The metal bent all over the place, and it just didn't fit together. Fortunately, this was a little easier than a toolbox. These end caps had flaps that go inside with more of the little adhesive strips, so they glued together. They stayed, and I did use my marker trick to try to hide some of the the white paper that gets exposed when you fold things on perforations. And I think that overall looks quite nice. And now things get very exciting because we're going to start assembling the box. Basically, we're putting it together as a street, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to adjust the camera up a bit. Maybe change the angle to get all that in. But as you can see, this is the exterior of the booknook here, the exterior wall, and it actually fits up a bit. So there will be another piece that will bring this one up so it's all level. That piece is on this template, A24, and this is kind of exciting. I've got another completed template, another empty one. I don't know why that pleases me so much. It just feels like a landmark as we're moving along. So I will adjust the camera here and be right back. Okay, I changed the camera position as well as the angle, so this might be a little more interesting. We'll see, hopefully. All right, so we've got the piece, the big segment I already completed. We have the other side of the street, and it's time to start putting these things together. So hopefully this is showing up okay. I'm really impressed by how solid these pieces feel once they lock into place. Okay, and then there is this footboard, I guess you would call it, that helps bring it all up to the same level. So as you can see right now, this, this side is not it's got nothing supporting it. So that goes in the last two slots remaining here. And there we go. We have a box. We have an alleyway. I'm kind of tickled. My little world exists. All right. So next steps. I have a few more pieces here. D6. D6. D5 and D3. Looks like these are locking pieces of some kind. Okay, so that goes on the back side of everything. Round hole. Alright, we've created kind of a key here. Looks like there is an additional piece now that slides in there to lock it. I have no idea what this is about. D4. Whoops. Things are starting to fall out of the template here. Need to be careful not to lose them. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. Some kind of a switch, maybe? I don't know. We are going to start on streetlights, it appears. So, I have a bag here of plastic parts. which is the first plastic bits I've really encountered doing this. So these three components together will make a street light. And these things here appear to be something else. So we'll put those over there. Here's the LED kit. It's a little bit different than the one I've worked with before. Looks like I will need to do some wiring on it after all. When I examined it in the bag earlier without taking it out, it looked to me like they were all wired together, but no, it looks like I'll be having to do some electronics work after all. Okay, so the instructions specify the smaller of the LEDs, it looks like. So I don't know how well this shows up on camera, but this one here is about twice the size of this one. This is the one that goes into the street lamp. So we start with this piece. Looks like you thread the wire through, pull it up this way, and then the LED ends up in it like so. Then we add the glass. And this outer frame. Which I guess just presses together like so. There's a little bit of a burr or something there. I don't think I want to sand that, but maybe I can just flick it off with the X-Acto knife. Yeah, it looks a little better. And I'll still plan on just hanging that side to the back. Alright, one street lamp. And we'll just repeat that operation to make two street lamps. As the count would say, two street lamps. I really wonder sometimes if I'm spending too much time by myself. All right, two street lamps. Now hopefully they work. Because I don't really fancy pulling all this apart to figure it out. Okay, this is where those little rubber things come into play. the ones that I thought went on the flowers. Try not to lose those little gems. Ah, okay. I wasn't sure what these metal rods were. They're actually hollow. Looks like that's going to be the posts that our street lamps hang from. All right. Let's see. I need another piece from this template, B18. And I found it works a little better if you use a tool to push these small pieces out. Now that has exposed the wood on these, so I might want to color those in with my markers. So I bought this set of markers when I was doing the nativity set, and I basically just bought it for the brown pen. So far the brown and the black are the only ones I've used, but this has been a very good $5 investment. So it appears we take one of these little metal tubes and one of these tiny little rubber O-ring things goes around that little wooden piece that I colored and goes on here, and another rubber thing on top of that, like so. And I'm not sure how much is supposed to be sticking out, but it looks like it's pretty flexible. I can adjust it. Then I need to run the wire in through the tube. Ah, that went smoother than I expected. And here's the part that might be complicated. It wants me to take one of these adhesive strips and actually cut it in half and wrap it around the tube so that when it goes into the lamp, it'll seal it. I think as I'm reading this, it's only asking, I only need to put half of a strip of one strip on each tube. We'll see if that's enough. I need to go find my scissors. Stand by. I'm thinking this might be easier to cut the adhesive strip while it's, well, I was going to try and cut it while it was still on the paper, but that didn't happen. Not quite even, but oh well. Isn't that nice? It self-removed the protective covering. Okay. Here goes nothing. And there we are, one lamp. And naturally it's going to be a little more complicated this time. Because I cut that unevenly, it didn't quite go all the way around, but hopefully that'll be sufficient. There we go. Pull the wire up. And voila, another one. All right, looks like that gets fastened to a cross beam here. F2. That's not good to be throwing my bits around. This is getting more complicated to find things because we're getting near the bottom. Ah. All right, F2. Looks like this little wooden piece here. Goes into these holes. I'm getting an octun. So it goes this way. And you just use these two center holes. Like so. Alright. Then I have a B13 piece. B is this black template. Okay, I'm going to color these in a bit because once again we have wood showing through, and I don't know that this will be visible, but I think it'll just look better if I touch it up. And it's quick enough to do. I really need to get a work lamp. It's getting late enough in the afternoon that it's kind of hard to see things depending on the angle. I think I explained in the last video, or maybe a couple of videos back, that I don't have great lighting really anywhere in my house, and I just make do. Alright, and then apparently I thread the wiring through those little eyelets there. Like threading a needle, being back in home ec class in 7th grade or whatever that was. That's another one of those DIY skills I wish I had learned, or wish I paid a little more attention to. Home ec. Sewing would be useful. I'm not much of a cook. I do pretty mean French toast. There we go. Okay, and I'm not sure how tightly to pull this through, so I'll be gentle with it for the moment. And I have to repeat that operation. Alright, and it looks like we get to attach the lamps to the main structure now. That's interesting. I must have missed a step. It's showing there needs to be a cap piece here that is not here. So let me see if I can find that. Crisis averted. I had indeed just skipped a step. Not quite sure how I managed to do that, but I found the required piece. I put it in place, so now we've got a top piece on both sides of the street. Man, that's wobbly. Hopefully putting these cross braces in will help that. So, getting back to where I was, that would be here. Got another attention mark. What is it calling my attention to? Ah, these pieces are numbered 2. Alright, it looks like these eyelets here, they go to the back. So this will be the front of the book nook here, and we're hiding the hardware in the back. So we fasten in here. Here, there's that creak. Alright, that looks pretty good. The wiring will go down the side here, it looks like. Number 2. I imagine you could adjust these light fixtures however you want. It seems to me they ought to be straight as opposed to angled. I guess you could turn it like that. What do you think, guys? Attractive, or should I leave it straight? I'll think about it. So that original piece that I constructed, that beam, I wondered why it was left open like that. That's the channel that the wires run down through. Very clever. I'm wondering if the wire is supposed to go down through these round holes here, but I'm not too clear on the instructions. It doesn't really show it too clearly. Oh, there it is. I suppose, yeah, okay. Yeah, and that makes more sense. All right. It's a good thing that I'm not trying to pass myself off as somebody who knows what they're doing. In other words, it's a good thing that my persona on this channel is the clueless guy, because I certainly am that. And that actually lays in there much flatter. Imagine that it works when you do what you're supposed to do. See that? And both of those fit through the hole down here at the bottom. I'm going to guess that the battery case and the electronics will mount in the space under here. And there we go, nice and flat inside that void space there. So that's a problem. If you pull the wire in too tightly, it's going to pull these fixtures out of line. So my natural inclination is to take all the slack out of everything, but evidently that's not a good idea. Oh, I just pulled the rubber grommet thing off altogether. Crap. There are times when being the clueless guy is kind of frustrating. I try to be good-natured about it, because I think that's more entertaining than having me sitting here bitching and moping. But I really would like to have more expertise on things than I do. This channel is actually getting at some of my personal hang-ups in a way that I didn't really anticipate it doing. I guess that's okay. I'm probably going to be fretting over the placement of things on this little kit until the end of time. It'll be like one of those artworks where you just have to decide to walk away from it. Not that it's finished, but you're just walking away now. All right, looks like we're going to start into the roof now. Ah, okay. I don't know if it'll show up on this camera, but they've incised a little template pattern there to lay the transparency against. That's one thing I've noticed about these. They usually do give you some guidance as to where to put things. So there's that. And we got more adhesive strips, the little shorties. Here, here, and here it appears. Okay, we need these notches to remain clear, so I'm trying to scoot that down a little bit. I overlapped it more than I should have. And there we go. I think that'll be okay. And this goes in here. All right. Starting to look like a genuine arcade here. Need to repeat those steps now for the back half. And this top panel here just keeps loosening up, and I don't quite know what to do about it. I keep hoping these cross pieces will help to steady it up, but so far it just... Maybe I'm expecting too much. All right. Looks like I have to wire that final lamp and do another roof truss. And again, run that down through the various holes, and then we'll start laying more of the ceiling. So, I'm going to jump ahead a bit. Okay, I've got that final roof truss mounted and the wiring threaded. Interestingly, this truss is plastic as opposed to the other two, which are the same MDF composite wood. That's an interesting choice. If it's a question of strength, I would think that all three trusses should be plastic. But who knows? The large double-size LED is here at the top of the plastic truss. I actually had a little bit of trouble getting it to cinch up into the right position. I monkeyed around with it for quite a bit, and then all of a sudden it just sort of seemed to pop in, which seems to be how this kit is working in general. Everything is kind of like that. It all just goes when it goes, I guess. So my guess is that this large LED, there it is going to be the primary illumination, and then the ones that went into the lamp fixtures are more just for atmosphere. They're smaller and inside, behind the opaque plastic. But we'll see how it goes. This piece is still whittling a lot more than I would prefer, but overall, putting the trusses on has stiffened it up quite a bit, and it's really starting to look like what it's going to be. This video I know is getting kind of long, so I'm going to cut this one off, and we'll maybe call this one a day and come back to it tomorrow. So, if you're still following me along, I appreciate your viewership. I'm hoping that this is interesting or entertaining. I'm having fun. I hope you are too. Anyway, you know the usual spiel. Comment, like, subscribe. And please come back for the next part, because we're going to be getting into wiring soon, I think. It looks like we put the roof on first. Maybe I'll do that off camera. Once we get into the wiring, I think it's going to get pretty interesting. Anyway, come back for the next part. Have a good evening, if it's evening when you watch this. And have a good day, whatever. And I'll talk to you soon. CGX, out.